Believe in things you don't understand, Lubie. Good morning, everybody. There is superstitious writing on the wall. Right? I mean, if you believe in things you don't understand, you're in trouble if you're a degenerate gambler. Good morning, everybody. That's Mike Lubie Lubitz. I'm Jeff DeForest. Welcome to another edition of the Morning Briefing. I don't know if people are getting this on audio only. I'm not sure on the various platforms. Then it's kind of useless to do a little show and tell here. But we love the smell of panic in the morning, and there it is. Back cover of the New York Post. They got a brain-dead Biden on the front cover, and on the back cover, what a lot of people are perceiving to be a somewhat brain-dead Brian Cashman. A man hailed as a genius as recently as the end of May, my friend. And the panic is beginning to set in. Yankees, and this is a thing. We talk a lot of betting philosophies here on the program, do we not, Lubie? Do we do too much of that? Betting philosophy. But in the new age, I think especially you youngins out there really need to kind of get hip to the idea that this is a long grind. That there's no, you only hear about the guy that hit a 10-cent 200-team parlay and he cashed for $8 million and now he's living in Bali. And having a great time and has chicks like DiCaprio. He goes to the Hamptons. He's at the party of that guy that owns the Fanatics. Oh, Fanatics. What kind of phenomenon is that, Lubie? The guy that owns Fanatics, isn't that like apparel, sports apparel?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
He owns every team in the fucking Major League Sports, every franchise. This guy's got a piece. It's unbelievable. Throws this big party out in the Hamptons. DiCaprio shows up and all the girls kind of gravitate towards him. It's good to be the king, which Brian Cashman was for a while. Well, is this some kind of haunting karma still left over from his affair with that soccer mom? Crazy woman. I mean, if you're going to have an affair with somebody, you're thinking she's more than willing to hang out with a married man who's very much in the public profile. So there's a pretty good chance that somebody's going to spot them together at some point and say, hey, you having an affair there, Brian? You're supposed to be this big family man. A very Tiger Woodsian type of thing. Although with Cashman, he happened to find the one nutbag, this Lisa Meanwell, who eventually tried to extort money from him and got real sloppy. But, I mean, isn't that worse than getting caught red-handed in bed with another woman, Lubie? I don't know. Has that happened to you?
No.
Never? Oh, wow.
Oh,
I wish I could say the same. And what do? You go Trump on this thing. You just deny it ever happened, right? Well, woman, yeah. What woman? That's not one of my favorite questions. What woman? What are you talking about? But and Cashman got caught up in that kind of a situation. But this year, off to a sizzling start. The Yankees, everybody is already giving them, and we do believe that Aaron Judge, if he continues what he's doing, he's going to be the MVP of the league. And I don't know, does he carry them deeply into the playoffs? Because all of a sudden they can't get the worst scrub on the opposition out. And I took advantage of this, Lubie, and this is the thing that, the perception is that the Yankees just magically will snap out of this. And that's what Brian Cashman is saying. Well, geez, you know what? It's been a tough stretch. But thank God we had that cushion from the beginning of the season. Delusional. And if you're betting, you would have cashed on the Yankees, I believe, as favorites in almost all of these games. You would have cashed 17 of the last 23 outings. Can you imagine, Lubie? I mean, this is the way to get rich if you're going to be a gambler. Jump on the bandwagon and just crush it while you have the chance. Because will they turn it around? I don't know. Their pitchers' ERAs are starting to look like Oksana Bayul's blood alcohol level. And the bullpen's not much better. And outside of two guys, nobody's hitting the baseball. So a rough stretch there for Brian Cashman, but nonetheless, he somehow has retained the job going back. What has he had, 25 years? So did he start in 1999? The Yankees' last World Series. What's that?
Because they had Bob Watson, and he was the one that I guess started that. What, they won 3 and 4 years?
They won 3 in a row, yeah. And maybe 4 and 5 years, something like that?
Well, something like that. And
98, 99, 2000. They won 3 in a row with Joe Torre as manager. And then they won again in 2009, beating the Phillies 4-2. And since then, not a senor. They have a sub-500 record in the postseason. The kind of stuff that usually gets a guy not just on the hot seat. This isn't Ed Ogeron we're talking about. The kind of stuff that usually gets the guy that's in charge fired, no? Not that I'm calling for this guy's head. He may be a wonderful person, Brian Cashman, aside from maybe that one indiscretion, which figure out if she's a nutbag and figure if she's interested in you, Lubie, or me. She's probably crazy, this woman. So there's a good chance it could come back to haunt you. Look what happened to our good friend Rick Pitino. My God.
Yep.
Slam dunks a woman on the table there in a small Italian restaurant in Louisville, and the next thing you know, she's asking for $8 million. Unbelievable. And he has to tell her to go away. All right. So, yeah, the Yankees' demise. Cash in on it, people. Don't be afraid. I actually made a bet last night, Lubie. I bet the Tampa Bay Rays I was only getting even money, the Rays at home against the Yankees. And you're thinking, why not? Jump on this bandwagon while it's hot. This could be like crypto currency, no? Where you don't know what day. Today, Bitcoin's worth 71,000. Tomorrow, it's worth minus 17 cents. Get in on it now, people. Get in on it now. All right. Is nothing sacred, Lubie? Have you seen this latest controversy? That's emerged now from the New York hot dog eating contest, the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, July 4th. Controversy. I thought this might involve steroids when I first saw the headline. But there was a guy in there, and he's actually married to the women's champion, Mickey Sudo, who is the Joey Chestnut of the women's side. She wins every year in a runaway. I mean, it's not even close. She eats like enough hot dogs to probably finish in the top 4 or 5 in the men's competition. And the women, I mean, she just blows them away. I mean, like she'll eat 51 hot dogs, and the next closest, second place, is 9. So, and she's married to a guy named Nick Wary, who was one of the favorites with Joey Chestnut out. I mean, what a disgrace. Did Nathan's just ruin the contest? I mean, is this kind of like the home run derby in the All-Star game where you don't even know what the rules are anymore? Who the fuck knows? Hey, who won? I don't know. Yep. What were the parameters? What were the guidelines? What were the rules? No idea. I mean, they keep changing them. They change them during at-bats just to try and make sure that we got to get everybody out of here by midnight. And the long fly ball, that's coming up, and it's being highly touted. I'm not sure, does it still retain the buzz outside of betting on it, I guess? What would be, don't you find it kind of ponderous watching the home run derby when that comes around?
The last few years, it's been stupid. I stopped watching it like 4 or 5 years ago.
But the hot dog eating contest, you know what you're getting. I mean, in spite of like the 2-hour buildup there on ESPN, which, by the way, as our good friend Jeremy Schaap, a very distinguished son of Dick Schaap, distinguished journalist in his own right, usually is involved in some very heady stories that show you all kinds of journalistic techniques that aren't in play very much anymore with people that just get on the air and start yakking. Jeremy Schaap reduced. Do you think he volunteered for this, or was he reduced to hosting the Nathan's hot dog eating contest this year?
Oh, God. No.
Did you see that? I mean, this is a guy, I don't know. He wasn't really a play-by-play guy, but when the boss man at ESPN calls you and says, hey, Jeremy, I know you have like 18 Emmy Awards and maybe even an Oscar. But we need somebody to schlep out to Coney Island on a 150-degree day to sit there with some guy that's just going to pump up this make-believe contest that doesn't even have their big star, the one guy that would have people gravitating towards the television set. Well, what is the interest in the contest at this point? It's only to see if Joey Chestnut can break his own record, isn't it?
Yes.
That'd be about it. Who cares about these other schleps? They're also Rens. They're coming in off the also eligible list to be contenders, and they're not even going to come close. I mean, Chestnut's record is like in the 70s, isn't it? 71, 72. It's like Barry Bonds.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Crazy, and he's so far out there. He's gotten so much. It's like when Bonds was juicing. He had so much juice in his system, it didn't even matter. Does anybody actually know the number of home runs that Barry Bonds hit to establish the all-time single-season record? Is it 74? Is it 75?
70-something.
Right, because nobody cared after a while because it was ridiculous. It was a clown show. And this is what they've reduced the Nathan's hot dog eating contest to, apparently. And this Nick Wary was one of the favorites. And he's a strange-looking cat, very muscular, had the mohawk with, several colors. It was like Dennis Rodman meets the taxi driver, right? And all of a sudden, you're looking at like De Niro saying, "You're talking to me." So he had like a weird style. He's shaking and he's all over the place. And apparently, he stole another guy's plate. They go by the number of empty plates, which each have 5 hot dogs on it to determine the final outcome, and they do it on video replay and things like that. So he found a way to pilfer another guy's plate and add it to his stack, taking 5 hot dogs away from the competitor and putting 5 onto his total. Nothing is sacred. People are cheating in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, Lubie. I mean, my God. with a wide open opportunity there because they had Joey Chestnut confined to eating tofu somewhere in Pennsylvania outside of Amish country. Can you pass the butter? Yeah, no problem. I mean, what the hell is going on with that? Nothing is sacred anymore, Lubie.
That's crazy.
As disgusting as it is, I loved every second of the 10 minutes of the Joey Chestnut performances. With the other guys looking on mystified, and they're shoveling food in their face, and they got bread all over their forehead, and you're thinking, wow, even this now has been destroyed. Just unbelievable. So Nick Wary, caught cheating in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest on a video replay, and he wouldn't have changed positions. This is the odd thing about the story, and the fact that people will cheat to do anything. He only wanted to make sure that he got into the category of having eaten 50-plus hot dogs, which puts you in, it's like hitting 300. It puts you in another, realm in terms of your stature in the eating world. And to do that, he disgraced himself. And I would imagine, what do you get, a lifetime ban for that?
You're done. I mean, you can't.
Somebody was explaining to us yesterday. I mean, you talk about the new math. We had a good friend. He's a great reporter. He's been on a national level, named Ethan Scoop Skolnick. And he put probably the best perspective I've heard on the collective bargaining agreement in the NBA. Because, Lubie, even you, Mr. NBA, Mr. Off-Season, Mr. Wojnarowski, even you can't understand or comprehend how this money is being divvied up. To the tune where even, some guy completely unproven that he can sustain a level of play that is worthy of star stature in the NBA. And they're getting $300 million deals, $250.
No, but then other guys are now getting like 4. There's no middle. Like guys that are clear role players are getting max deals. And then now once that money's gone, everyone else gets nothing.
Yeah. Well, Scoop tells us yesterday that the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement in the NBA, which was kind of the model that all the others were built upon, isn't it? Remember when the NBA was about on the brink of going out of business and extinction? And I mean, their games, the finals were played on tape delay at 11 o'clock at night on some channel that you couldn't find unless you went on top of the house there and hung an antenna at the last second. And sure enough, I mean, they finally agreed to revenue sharing. That was revolutionary and a big breakthrough in sports negotiations. And you have had less acrimony since that system came in play and it was introduced. I want to say by the NBA. Did anybody do that before? I don't think so. Remember, baseball owners would never show their books to anybody. That was always the big thing. Well, we've got to open the books. I don't know. Well, why don't we just stop the conversation right here? Right? We'll bring in some shortstop from the Dominican Republic. You Americans will never sniff the field in your own game. So the NBA kind of pioneered that whole idea. And yet Scoop says that the CBA, this year's, the current model that they're using, once the players got the opportunity to smoke weed without being subject to any kind of scrutiny for that or suspension, they caved in on everything else. That the NFL Players Union has done a better job of negotiating than the NBA, which, those guys seem to be setting the pace. But while that's being said, Louis, so you say there's just no middle class anymore? It's kind of like America?
I mean, that's what Ethan was saying, is that they're either you're getting a huge-ass deal or you're getting a low-level deal. They're not doing the middle $20 to $30 million deal. They're doing like 35 to 50 or 5 to 15. Like for some reason that 20 to 15 to 30 range kills.
The mid-range jumper is gone, is what you're saying.
I guess. I don't know. That's what he was saying to us yesterday, and I didn't understand that. But it actually is exactly what's happening. So I guess teams throw out big money and then have nothing left. I guess
must be. I don't know. There's bird rules and magic rules and George Mikan rules. You got all kinds of exceptions. No, foundation for operation has more exceptions to it than the NBA's collective bargaining agreement. And yet, that being said, then people are saying the thing's a disaster, and it's really overall going to be harmful to the competition. I don't think Adam Silver is saying anything about that. He's become very quiet since he threw Donald Sterling out of the league, hasn't he?
Yes.
Quick touch. Yesterday, fantastic action at Wimbledon once again. Daniil Medvedev kind of a mad scientist. Looks like Ichabod Crane out there with a racket. And he's one of these guys that will do anything to psych out an opponent. He gets the crowd after him all the time, and he just eggs them on to continue to jeer. I mean, it's almost like watching the Macho Man Randy Savage with a racket in his hand. A weird-looking guy. His form is a little bit strange compared to some of the other guys. You're not going to mistake him for Roger Federer when he's taking the racket back and hitting one of those two-handed backhands. And he comes up with a big win yesterday over Yannick Sinner. And we were talking about how ESPN has almost become like Pornhub when it comes to showing the babes in the box. I mean, if these women were naked, it literally would be, never mind ESPN, it would just be Pornhub.com. Because the director is constantly saying, show the babe, show the babe, show the babe. and it's become a little bit of that. But when they go to Medvedev's box, and he's married, and it seems like they have a very nice relationship, Medvedev and his wife. And yet when they show the box, it really does. It looks like, what, were you a Ray Donovan fan, Lubie? I don't know if you were as much of a Ray Donovan fan as I was. But okay, you were. Because I remember the Romanian mafia that he was battling in a couple of episodes. That's what the people in Medvedev's box look like. They may be very fine, refined individuals, but nonetheless, you look up there and you're going, man, this maverick of a player is surrounded by people that look like, they'd be more suited to be at a rugby match in front of the Queen at Wimbledon. I guess what is there a Queen now? Did they count that Bowles Parker or whatever?
She's like the Queen consort or whatever, because she's not
they
the one
give her the title.
But she is a queen. Yeah, she's married to the king.
It's like the Intercontinental Wrestling belt. What continents does that encompass? I always ask myself that. All right, we got to get out of here. I don't know that we accomplished anything, but great action yesterday. Carlos Alcaraz also prevailing over the American Dream, Tommy Paul. And do you believe this? Our good friend, former media critic for one of the local newspapers here, Jim Sarney, texts me that he saw 4 better-looking babes at the local Publix than Tommy Paul's girlfriend, who we were fawning over yesterday because of this Pornhub approach that is being taken by ESPN. I doubt that.
I mean, look, we have very attractive women down here, so it depends on your taste, I guess.
They're not at Publix. They're getting the groceries delivered, most of these women. Not to, impugn the integrity of beautiful women being normal and everyday people, but I have never seen anyone even close to approaching Tommy Paul's girlfriend roaming around the local grocery store. That is pure fantasy. This man, I mean, he needs to get his eyes checked. That's incredible. All right, we got to get out of here. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll do it again tomorrow. Thanks to the people at nofilter.net. They're great. And enjoy all the programming there. We will see you tomorrow. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest with the next edition of The Morning Briefing.